Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to another Make It Monday. Thanks for joining me, whether you're watching live or you're catching the replay on Facebook or YouTube. I'm really glad you're here tonight. I am Nan Gerlitz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I'm here to help you connect with your people, whether that's gathering together to craft or you crafting to items to share with them. It's all about making and deepening those connections. So let's get to it. There we go. So first of all, Friday night stamping, lots of fun. It was kind of interesting because last week, or this week, I should say, we used the opposite things that we did last week. So I used the designer paper that Russ used and from the week before, and he used the one that I used from the week before. So we're stuck in a rut. But this was Russ's card, and this was my winning card, which we will be making tonight. So yeah, both of these, pretty much all the products here are from our new mini catalog that's going on right now until January 6th. So I always like to let you know that you never know if things are going to stick around after they're in a mini catalog either. So if there's anything you see in there that you like, you definitely want to grab it now. So we will say goodbye to the adorable owl for right now. And we'll concentrate on these cute birds. So as always, I do have a couple of variations of this card to show you at the end. So be sure to stick around. But first, I want to talk to you about this gorgeous paper that I used. This is the Nests of Winter paper. Lots of bird heavy, very, very bird forward. So, but just gorgeous hand colored birds, right? So if you're just looking to have a gorgeous card with hand coloring on it, but you don't want to do the hand coloring, beautiful way to do it. Actually, let me show you these sides first. So we've got some more fallish looking ones. We have some larger guys with their berries. And some teeny tinies in some birch trees, which birch trees are my favorite. So absolutely love that one. And we've got this one that Russ had used last week. So this is a gorgeous, I love the way they do these where it's, pretty much the same top and bottom. It's just flipped. So if you just split that right in half and then cut those in thirds, you've got 6 card fronts out of that. And you didn't have to do much work at all. Alrighty, do I have another? Yes. And then these gorgeous little buds, love them. So then on the flip side, we have just more generic kind of patterns. So you've got some they could be snow, could be bubbles, who knows, could be salt. Stripes, you guys know how I love stripes. So we've got this gorgeous, it's like a very hand-drawn square pattern. Love that. There are some birds in here, but they're sneaky amongst all the flora. And then again, just some graphic kind of, let me see if I can get that. There we go. So you can see the actual design there. And then a nice wood grain as well. So we've got lots and lots of gorgeous paper to work from. And I love that, if you're not thrilled with one side of the paper, usually there's something maybe a very different on the other side. So even if you have one that's not your favorite, usually the other side is something you can use. So, and we are using the bundle that goes along with that designer paper, the Winterly Treetops bundle. So they've got these cute birds and the singles and the doubles, and then the little buds and swag and everything. And so, the dies will cut out your different birds and your buds, but it also, and the swag, but it also has some complementary things as well. So lots of fun things to do with this bundle. Okay, let's just get started creating, shall we? As always, there is a link to the full supply list in the video description. So if you're wondering which supplies exactly I used, like what colors, if I don't mention it, anything like that, it's all in the video description. And measurements for my projects on my lives are exclusively shared with people on my email list. So if you subscribe to my weekly emails, you will get measurements for all my live projects. So this week, I will be sharing the measurements for this particular project with the email list. So if you are not on there, like, first of all, what are you waiting for? I'm looking for a tiny piece that I see. Oh, there it is. And they come out weekly. So I put a newsletter out every week, and it includes not only the measurements for my live projects, but it also has a free tutorial in there every week. There's color combination suggestions. There's sketch layouts, which the Stamper Man used for the second week in a row, one of my layouts from my newsletter. So they're very handy. Plus all the news of what's going on with Stampin' Up. So you know when there's new product releases, when there's free shipping, which is coming up on Wednesday, September 18th. I just remembered that. So free shipping on all orders of $75 or more. And if you've never shopped with me before and so you don't have it bookmarked, that link's in the video description as well as how to sign up for my email newsletter. So everything is in there. Okay, so what I've done here is I've taken an extra little strip of our designer paper, and that's how I'm going to decorate my little inside piece here. And just a little bit of liquid glue. I don't want to put too much because, you know, it's going to smush, right? And you don't want it to smush out and be all over everything, and then your card doesn't open. That would be sad. I also like the liquid glue, especially for like little strips like this, because it gives me some wiggle room so I can make sure it's flush at the top where I wanted it. So we'll grab our little card base. I never used to use liquid glue, and I am becoming quite the convert. And part of it, I think, was I'm very much an instant gratification person. And so I didn't think I wanted the drying time. But our liquid glue sets pretty quickly. Now, I could still wiggle that around, but like I can move it and it's not going anywhere. But I could probably scooch it for a few moments. So I love that. It's all done. I didn't have to wait for it to dry like you did in kindergarten, right? So now I'm going to give you a really cool secret to this card, because I wanted the look of beautifully colored birds. And as you can see, I could have done that with my stamp here. And that's what I originally was going to do. And then I decided, you know what? Maybe I should show you all that you can make amazing cards with very little effort. And so we're going to use this little, these little chickadees, even though I don't think they're chickadees, right here. We're going to grab the die cut machine. Woo, sorry. Hope you didn't get dizzy. And we're going to grab our dies. So on the designer paper, the dies will cut out these single birds. The dies will cut out these double birds as well on this particular piece. So you've got 2 sheets of this in the pack. So you've got lots of birds you can cut out, which is super nice, especially if you're in a hurry or if you're trying to like impress somebody, right? Like, look at this gorgeous card I made. So we're going to, whoa, that moved. Good thing I caught that. I guess I probably need new tape. I've used that one quite a bit. Okay, let's try that again. So we'll pop that through. We'll be using that again in a moment for something else. All right. So I absolutely love that they've taken the work out of that for me, because our designers at Stampin' Up! Do a wonderful job designing our papers, and they usually hand color them and all sorts of wonderful things, so I don't have to. Now, I know what I usually think when I get designer paper that has, you know, things that can be die cut out of them. I'm like, but now I can't use that paper for anything, except for you can. Because tonight what we've done is we're going to flip that over, and we're going to take our other piece of designer paper, and I'm going to glue that right over that big hole I just made. So I'm using the whole sheet that I have, right? Absolutely perfect use for it. A little bit of liquid glue here around those openings. Make sure your birdies are facing the right way, because you don't want to put that on upside down, right? And there. So there's our big hole that we cut, but nobody's going to know about it because it's covered now. And then I've got to bring out those berries. I just got a little strip of cherry cobbler, and I'm going to just put some liquid glue right above the seam here. And yes, this is longer or wider, whatever, than my card is. But that way I can snip it off at the end and it'll be the perfect length instead of maybe cutting it too short. Perfect. I absolutely love the really light blues and the reds together. They just look so good. So then I had a little circle of the gray granite, because I have the gray granite here. There's gray granite in the back of there. Everything coordinates, which we love, right? But I had this little circle, and I kind of thought I wanted a little bit of texture in it. So I did emboss it with an embossing folder, and then when I went to look up the do the supply list for tonight, I realized the embossing folder I used isn't available right now. It was part of our line exclusives, and those are kind of available when they're there and gone when they're not, right? So I grabbed my metal plate embossing folder because I wanted to mimic these squares in the designer paper. So we will grab, we're just going to use that bottom plate, right? Yeah, it'll tell me right here. I don't know why, but for some reason I went, do I do this? So we're just going to use the bottom plate, the embossing folder, and then the specialty plate. And all the plates you need for this come with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So how awesome is that? You're all set to go. Just buy some dies and some embossing folders, and you're good. And this is, or at least it was, when I first got it, one of my favorite embossing folders. It just adds such great texture. And I just felt like it really helped because I can put it on that same angle as those, so it's kind of a diagonal. Just a little oomph. All right, let's pop this on. I'm going to check my notes to make sure that I'm telling you everything. Yes. So we're going to pop this on our card base. I'm definitely going to need to order some more liquid glue, I think, because it is Christmas card making season. I know it's not Christmas yet. People don't want to hear the C word in September. But when you're a crafter, Christmas starts earlier, right? So I actually decided I'm going to cover up that little bird because I was either going to cover part of him, and I didn't want to do that, or all of him. So I just, he's not there anymore. And then my other birds, well, first I think we're going to stamp our greeting because I don't want those in the way. So the other thing I like about designer paper that I'm getting more and more, I'm remembering to do more and more, is on the lighter designs, just stamp right on there. Because I was looking to figure out where I should put a greeting on this card. And I didn't want to add another layer of cardstock. I really liked the way everything was laid out, and I didn't want it to get too busy. So I decided to stamp right on the designer paper. So I've got my my cling stamp here, my red rubber. So all I do want to get this straight is I line up my block with grid lines. So whether you're using grid paper or the glass mat or, anything that has straight lines, and then I try to put those words on, lining it up with another line. Then I've got my gray granite stamp pad too, because it's a gray granite night. Looks good. Okay, so now I'll take my card and I'll line that up with my grid lines so I know it's straight. I will take my block and I will line that up with grid lines as well, or maybe just the top of the card. Nope, I think grid lines. I want it up a little farther. And perfectly straight greeting. I'm sure if an engineer looked at it, they could find, a fault, but I can't. And hopefully I'm not sending this to an engineer, right? So get my little Sammy out here, clean my stamp. All righty. We are moving and grooving tonight, guys. There's no chatter in the comments tonight, so I'm not distracted. And then we're going to take our dimensionals and pop these beautiful birds up here. I love that the birds kind of match the color in the designer paper too. So it just kind of a different tone of the same color. That's probably enough. All right, if you're ever having trouble getting the backs off of your dimensionals, if you have a take your pick tool, that little pokey end is really perfect for that. If you don't have a take your pick tool, first add it to your wish list, but then you can use your fingernail or anything like that to kind of push down in the middle. And then if you notice, the edge popped up when I did that. So then it's easier to grab that edge. Even if you don't have very long fingernails, you probably have enough. All right. And there we have it. Like super, super simple, right? And look at that. I colored them identically. The joy of pre-printed paper. So this is our first one. I took that same layout and I put it into 2 different samples. So using the same paper pack, but very different vibes. So here's a nice thank you card with those buds and that wood grain. Now these I did stamp and die cut. I also did a little blender pen with them. That's copper clay ink. And then I've got kind of a more fall vibe going on with this one. I pulled the pumpkin from this bird out for our little strip. Used my favorite stripes. I love them. And then that nice swag piece. So again, I just pulled the cherry cobbler. And then, so we actually do not have a garden green blends set. So I couldn't match perfectly this garden green, but I certainly did a pretty good job, I think. And what I use for this is Old Olive and Granny Apple Green. So for the lighter leaves, I used the light of each of those. I went over them with Old Olive first, and then on top of the Old Olive, I did the Granny Apple Green. And then for the darker leaves, I just used the dark for each of those. Same thing. Old Olive first and went over it with the Granny Apple. And it's almost a perfect match to the garden green. Absolutely love that. So if you're looking for garden green, that's my suggestion. Your Old Olive, your Granny Apple Green will make a really, really pretty close match for you. So, and there you go. There are my 3 perfectly the same layout, just a little variation in the focal points and very different vibe for each of them. So hopefully that's something you can use. Where's my mouse? There it is. Let me pop up here for a minute. I am going to drop in the comments for those of you watching the replay on Facebook. I will drop the words are hard some days, guys. I'll drop the link to the scrapbooking brochure that we have out right now, which is amazing. So you definitely want to take a peek at that. And for you YouTubers, I will add that to the video description as well, so that you can see, a quick link right to that scrapbooking brochure. We do not have it in print. It is online only, but you can look through the brochure as well as see the pieces in the online store. So a really great way to shop if you're always wondering what's new is if you go to my online store, which there is a link in the video description, but it is right there as well. Just the bit.ly link and then Stamper Nan Shop. That will get you there. Anytime you're there, you can just go up to the menus up top and click on the what's new, and it will show you the latest mini catalog products or the latest annual catalogs when those come out. Stampin' brochures. There's also a specials link up there, so that'll show you anything that's on sale. And do remember that this Wednesday, September 18th, we have free shipping on all orders of $75 or more. So that is definitely something to take advantage of. They've been doing it a little more often lately, but still, I just got that information today, so they don't even tell the demonstrators well in advance. So it's always something to be aware of. Another reason why you want to make sure to be on my weekly newsletters. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, if you got some tips or some inspiration from this video, I'd love it if you'd share it with your family and friends so that they can also be inspired. Until next week, I'm still Nan Gurlitz. Happy stamping.